forward to a very exciting discussion today. So I think we can each introduce ourselves, the panelists, so that we can bring our voice to it.
All right. I'm Violet. I'm Enoch's wife. Yeah, and I'm glad to be here. Maybe as I introduce myself, I want to say that I'm very passionate about education. It's my life. It's something that I've always felt like when I was a young child, just to be a teacher or an educator. And that's what I live for, being a teacher. And so anything to do with education is something that really is in my heart. I've taught for more than 32 years. I've taught in normal public school, Kenya. We were the first university students to be introduced to the 844 program. When it was coming up, it was us who were first trained to go out and do that. So you can imagine how old I am. And then I've also taught in just a normal Kenyan private school. I've also homeschooled my kids. In all these processes of doing things, as you can see, I look at the approach of education not from something that must remain like static, but I look at it like, what is my need at this time, or what should I be doing, and how should I be meeting the needs of students in whichever way. So if you're a homeschooling parent, then I'll meet your need because I have seen the importance of that. If you're a school teacher, I love interacting with school teachers because my interests are in classroom environments. Currently, I'm a PhD student at University of Illinois in the US. And again, I'm doing my PhD in education, curriculum and instruction. And again, the essence is to continue growing myself in the area of education so that I can be useful to society, so that I can be able to see how to equip myself and other teachers to be to actually meet the need of the student in the classroom. So this CBE and just discussing about any form of education to me is very exciting, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you everyone for coming, and I'm hoping that we'll actually be able to meet your need. And yeah, I'm looking forward. Thank you.
Okay, we can have Mary also introduce herself. Mary Susan, we also want to hear you.
Yes, praise God and good evening. As you have been told and you see, I'm Mary Susan Otieno. I am a teacher by profession and by passion. I am currently at Sheko Primary and Junior School as deputy head teacher. It is a public school. I've taught for 28 years now, and I have an interest with the early childhood education.
Mary, I think
also the child development. I'm a trainer with CBC.
So Mary, we can't hear you fully well. Maybe you can turn on your video because I think it's affecting your internet. But it's good that we have seen you. You can just continue. Maybe the audio will be better. Yeah. Okay. You can try speak now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a interest in both CBC and Christian education. Went through the early training of Christian education at Faith Ventures, and I've been following on the footsteps of my, I call them my parents in the Lord and in all areas. Violet and he's just my dad, Enoch. I'm glad to participate here because of my experience with the CBC from its inception. I trained and then became a trainer. I'm also in touch with the Kenyatta University Department of Education as a mentor, of which we get you get to know their preparedness also in terms of CBC students coming up, and many other wide range of experience. I'm a parent to 3. My last born is turning 18 years this year, and I'm a wife to Pastor George Ogutu.
Thank you so
I
much.
think maybe
Yeah.
we'll get to know us.
Yeah, that's really amazing introduction. And thank you so much for being our panelist here today. Again, everyone, I'll take this time to welcome you. And we are going to kick off our session. And we're going to actually start now that our panelists have introduced themselves. We can now get to the main business of this webinar. So get ready and get your pen and paper, because we're going to have a lot of things to take away to our kids' future. So we can start by defining competence versus outcome-based education. And I would like to give the mic actually to Mary and also Violet and Mr. Mohol to inform us on that. Or one of you either is okay.
Okay, so we are looking at outcome-based education, the first one, is it?
Yes, we just need to define, just
okay.
Parents, what is
All
this
right.
big word? Is it actually?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make competency-based education look so big. We make it look so far-fetched, but competency is just simply abilities. So maybe we can narrow it to, we can call it ability-based education. So what it's doing is that it's trying to dig out the potential in your child so that in the end, you can see what your child can be and do, and that's what you'll focus on in training this child. And then what competency education is doing, or ability-driven education is doing, is removing the responsibility of learning from concentrating on the teacher to the student. And so the student will be more engaged in the learning rather than depending on the teacher to be the one doing it. Now, ability-based, I will continue using that word so that I can be able to demystify competency. Competency looks like, that formal word that you say, but it's just skills or abilities that someone would have. And so that's what this education is really trying to do. And that's what I admire about the steps that the Kenyan government has taken in order to try and draw out the abilities of our children so that we focus on developing those abilities. Now, the other last thing that competency-based education is doing is that now we move from memorization of material or just the education the child is receiving or content to now actual things the child does. And so you'll find that within competency-based education, it's strewn up with a lot of projects that the children do. And I think that's where the parents come in, because the kids come home with so many projects to do, and you're thinking, so how am I supposed to do this? But in a nutshell, for me, that's how I would break down what competency-based education is. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not sure if Mary has something to add. Mary, as the head teacher on the call, unaambianga wazazi aje wakikuja hii ni nini? Unaambianga aje? Okay. Mary, if you're speaking, you're on mute. I know hiyo ni kitu tu huwa tunasahau, tunapata tu umeongea. Okay. I think Mary, once you're ready, you can just join us. We can move on to the questions. And again, like we said, we are going to demystify fears. And the first thing is confronting the stigma. And we have our first question to our panelists. What is the single biggest misconception parents have about competency-based education daily? And how do we pivot to clarity? I can give this to Mr. Mohol.
Thank you, Wanjiru. I think the misconceptions are very many, but I think one of the misconceptions, I think people just feel it is hard, and that there is so much shift of responsibility to the parent. So you can almost feel a pushback from parents because they are wondering, the traditional approach we have is I paid school fees, my child ameenda kusoma. I mean, now that we are mixing the two languages, it's okay. I've sent my child and I paid. Why are they again coming back home for me to do what I've paid you to do at the school? So I think it's a lack of involvement and what I can call orientation that the parent should have been exposed to understand fully what this is. Then now you can eliminate all these fears, all these misunderstandings. But the misunderstanding exists. I think you can almost start feeling an urgency to let us get out of here, let us do something else. You can notice in some quarters that talk has already started to come in our discourse in the country. And it's because there is unease. People are wondering, this thing is too much. We didn't sign up for this, okay? But like Violet has said, it is a very good, in fact, maybe I will surprise you. It is not entirely new. If you look at 844 in its original form, when it was introduced in 1985, essentially it was an competency-based, it was outcome-based. So we can say we have actually been doing competency-based. We diluted it along the way, but in purely, if you want to look at the structure behind what we're doing as a curriculum, that's what we have been doing. And so there's the general fear that parents have because I think it's not been clearly explained. So people are fearing, they're wondering the cost, they're wondering the involvement it's requiring from them. And there's a pushback.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohol. Mrs. Mohol, I feel like you have something you can add onto that. What are the single biggest misconceptions parents have from your view?
I think for me, just to add to what Enoch is saying, is the misconception that the child is not learning as adequately as they did when they were doing the exam-oriented program. Like Enoch said, initially 844 was supposed to be actually competency-based, but again, we shifted it to be so exam-oriented, performance-oriented, let me put it that way, outcome-oriented, where we focused more on what the student was, with the A or the B, or did they pass, or are they going to the national school? Are they going, whatever it was that we felt was showing that our child has done so well. Now that we have competency-based, the parent is wondering, is that going to water down what my child knows? Am I going to know is my child going to be a lesser educated person than the one that focused more on academics? I say this because all of us, and like our children, we were trained from the place where we focused more on preparing for exams. And so for me as a parent to shift to trust another system of education that it will still do what I think it did is quite a big shift. So for me, it's just the shift of the parent fearing that the result of competency-based education may not be as adequate as that one that was given by what the exam-oriented curriculums have done. But probably to answer to that, I think what our children are moving into is where the modern world is, where employers are looking for what you can do more than just the information that you have in your mind. But that is for another question or another engagement that we would have. But I just wanted to lay that out. Another misconception I feel is like the fear that why should I get involved as a parent? The fear of, am I adequately prepared to get involved? The fear of, I don't know what this is. And I think that's where Enoch brings in the fact that the orientation that probably we may have as parents could be inadequate, but then that can be filled out by just getting more information about it. And that will allay all our fears. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mohol. I'm not sure, Mary, are you able to add something as the head teacher on the call? Mary, I don't know if you are able to speak now.
Sorry, I went off a bit due to internet needs, so there is a part that I didn't hear. Let me just add later.
Okay, thank you. All right, we can move to the next question, which is academic pathways for our children. And really, like I shared earlier, the question we have today to our panelists. When these children graduate senior school, how seamlessly does this model interface with international higher education and global careers? I think this is really a big concern for the parents because it really touches on the children's future. So I would give it to everyone in the panelist to answer this for us. And we can start with Mrs. Moho.
All right, thank you, Anjiro. For me, first, I should be able to say that the good thing about CBE is that by the end of it all, you will have discovered the inclinations your child has, that they're more inclined to be a STEM student, or they're more inclined probably to do a specific career in art-based subjects, the social sciences. Or they're just a photographer, not just, they're a photographer. They want to get involved. They are a chef, I was so excited in life when one of our children chose that she wanted to do culinary arts and be a chef, and that's a career. So what competency-based education does for us is already to help us to see, so what is my child's interest and how can I be able to invest in it? So we begin from there. And so as parents, we need to know that our children have been given more options that are so available in the community and also worldwide. Then the other thing is that when they now get into high school and they take on those the subjects they need, they are already specific to certain areas. You are choosing either vocational route, or you're choosing a more art-oriented route, or you're choosing a STEM-oriented route. But what is happening is that your child is being prepared for who they really are, and so they can be able to blossom and move forward. This concept came up because previously we used to widen the range in which to prepare children, where you learn many things. And sometimes you never narrow down to really who you are. And so you struggled in certain subjects, but there was very little you could do. You just had to do them. And so I'm really happy that children can easily choose the pathway and focus on it. They can choose sports and focus on it and study sports science. And now that then brings us to the global world. When we look at our children, because we are doing a national curriculum, it will be recognized worldwide. If you check any requirement to any global university, and you say you are an international student, and there is a drop box that will tell you of the different countries and the national curriculums they offer. So already Kenya will be seen as a country that offers CBC. So that recognition in itself is enough for you to be able to join tertiary education abroad. If there is anything they need to add, you need to add that specific university your child is going to will be able to help you to know. But I know most of the admission processes just requires that you should have done a national curriculum that they recognize, and therefore your child can be able to move in. Having said that, what has happened is that the competency-based education also has provided us with helping our children be thinkers. And if you're thinking globally, right now, any child that needs to get into a tertiary institution needs to be a critical thinker and innovator. And that's what CBE is offering our children. So even going out there, they will fit. They will fit because they already have been helped to have the skills of functioning on their own, problem solving, critical skills, innovation in themselves. They have digital literacy, by the way. Let's continue encouraging them in that. And so they are not like disadvantaged in any way globally. Yeah, I think that's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. We can go to Mr. Mohol, and then next we will have Mary.
Thank you, Wanjiru. I think what I'll just add to what Violet said is that the global trend right now is in education cycles. If you look at the major players in education, whether it's in the Western world, North America, you're talking about Canada, US, or you go to Europe, you're talking about UK, big countries like Finland, you go to Australia, they are all actually, their education systems are all competency-based. However, they are each tweaked to certain specific circumstances of the nation that they want to be able to do. So that basically means that when we are involved in this, we are not an island. So when children finish from the system and they want to transit maybe even to other places, it should not be a problem and it should not cause worry. In any case, even when we have been doing the 844, education systems are structured in such a way that they speak to each other globally. That's why you can leave Kenya and you can go to Russia and you'll be able to continue their schooling. You can leave Kenya, you can go to USA, you can leave Kenya and you can go to Australia and you can continue because the education systems are structured to speak to each other. And most of the time that is done through a process or a system of how do we convert or equate the qualifications or the grades that you have to fit into the grades that we are using in our situation. So that is it's a bit more technical than that, but essentially that's what happens. So because that system is there and it exists, it should not be a problem for you to finish on the CBC in Kenya and then want to move to another country or another education system. It should not be any problem at all, right? I thought that is just for us to be reassured that when our children graduate, they should be able to seamlessly interface with higher education and in other jurisdictions or in other areas without a serious problem.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohol. Mary, are you able to say something on that?
Okay, to add on that, I think parents need to be assured that the change to CBC was to meet the global standards. The Ministry of Education change from 844 to CBC was to meet global standards. So the level that CBCs giving the pathways are recognized locally at the level of education system. There is a going to maybe have challenges of admission or anything because they are tracked right from grade 3 going up when they do their grade 6 exam. There are project work and a lot of other things that are already in the system to help them establish their pathways. When they come to grade 9, they are also transitioning to the senior school, but the whatever outcome that is going to be used is the assessment right from grade 3. That is what is going to is being used to guide them towards their pathway. After the senior school, they are able to to be admitted to the universities locally and even globally. One of the major reasons of transitioning to CBC was to Kenyan educational system to meet the global standards. So the system is at par with the global standards of education.
Thank you so much, Mary. Okay, that question was really well answered. We can go to our next question, which is and parents, please, everyone on the call, just be preparing your questions. We're coming back to you with the questions that you brought on. Still on the academic pathways, how do academic pathways work under competency-based education, and how can a parent identify their child's their child's unique path without forcing traditional expectations. Really, the traditional expectations here being the grades, get good grades, go to a university, get a job. So we are now looking at this question as a different way. How can a parent identify their child's unique path without forcing traditional expectations? And I feel like our panelists can answer all of them. We can start with Mr. Mohol this time. And then we go to Mrs. Mohol and then Mary.
I would want maybe Violet to start first.
Okay.
All right. So when I think about the competency education, what it has done is that it has given three pathways. Pathways just simply means three exit areas. So you're either STEM student, meaning you're in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So that will be your major. Those will be people probably who will be leaning towards architecture, medicine, engineering, data science, the people that lean towards things that require biology, chemistry, subjects that are more technology oriented. we during our time, we also had people being prepared for subjects like power mechanics, I really, automotive engineering. We had teachers that were being prepared for that. And I'm so glad that that is getting revived, or that is moving on. Then there is another pathway of arts, sports, and science, where now you're looking at sports and recreation, or physical education, or theater, or fine art. And I'm glad we are bringing in the diversity of vocational training, because life is such that even your hobby can turn into what you can use to earn a living. Remember, education was meant not for me to absorb just a lot of content, but to give me a place where I can then go and earn a living and be able to be a positive contributor to society, but also take care of my family and myself. And so if you have something that can be able to do that for you, then that is good. Then they have a social science pathway. And I think this is where all the languages are, the history is. And it's interesting that as we think about these different pathways, I want us to know that the pathways are just like like a guideline. But let me give a good example. Our third child, all of them, one can easily tell who the child is from the time they were young. But I think what happens is that when they get into the system that probably is exam oriented, or that is putting pressure for people to absorb content, they lose who they are. But from young, you can almost see who your child is. We've always had to, like our third child, let me just use him as an example, is a very hands-on person. And so he learned to repair things. He learns to prepare bicycles. Right now, a lot of people, our friends and ourselves, depend on him. When the vehicle is broken, he's the kind of person to come and look at it and see, what can we do with your car? Not that he's gotten the training, but he just has an interest. And so he learns and researches on a lot of things to do with hands-on things. And as a parent, now that is your child, it's possible for you to see, oh, this one, I think, is inclined to this area, and therefore allow them to be able to develop it. I like the projects that come home. And that's where, when you get involved and you see what your child is doing, you can easily tell what they can do. If you have a child who is a good reader, like an avid reader, a child who is a great communicator, that's somebody who you can already see, this one is more inclined to things that are to do with English and literature, and probably they don't mind reading a lot. So they might move towards things that will require for them to use their mind and in absorbing information as careers, But if you place them probably to do physics or something like that, they could take some time or struggle, not because they don't know, but because it's just inbuilt in them that they would find it easier to do the languages than they would physics. So for me, I feel like every child has what they already have. They come complete from God. He created them fearfully and wonderfully for us. And if, as parents, we just connect with our children, you'll get to know what they are more inclined to do, or places that they can easily put their focus on even as they grow as children. The other thing is that I feel like when you work with teachers, they easily help you as the children go through subjects, because they don't learn in high school just like that. They will have gone through these subjects throughout their learning. So you'll see that, oh, they're actually performing better in this subject. So why don't we concentrate on what he's performing better in, rather than what he has to put too much effort in, and it puts them down and maybe makes them feel like they're a failure. Or, yeah, why don't you focus on things that would help him? Let me say he's a basketball player. We've just been told by Wanjiro that currently basketball is being sponsored by IMF in Kenya. Or he could be a runner. Think about the people we cheer. You know, Kipchoge has made a career, full career from just running. And so I think what competency-based education is giving us is just to take a breather and to allow our children to be who they need to be, and to give them the support of what they want to be. I think that's how I would answer that question.
Thank you so much. We can give it to Mr. Mohol.
I'll just add briefly about the fact that that whole aspect about wiring, for me, is very important. Some of us, we ended up in careers that we were not necessarily wired for. And what happened is that you get very frustrated because you are like what we may call a round peg in a square hole. You know, you end up finding yourself a round peg in a square hole. The physical thing Violet is talking about, the practical side of things Violet is talking about, that is me. That is the career path. I think if I was helped early, if my parents were capable, obviously they were not, but if they were capable of knowing and identifying, you know, what the child is wired for, they would have probably helped me in that area. How it would have done, I don't know. Maybe I would have been an engineer, a builder, or something, but I'm sure that is what comes alive in me. I come alive when you take me to build something, you know, to construct something. I get, it's like my whole life comes alive. But you know what I ended up being? I ended up going to do, first and foremost, I was told to go to be an accountant so that I can make money. And so accountancy is books, it's reading, it's a lot of reading, and that's not me. Yeah. And then when you finish, you go to be in an office, you are looking at books, you are looking at, and I think for 15 to 20 years, I was a very bored person because that's what I was to do. And I was a very bored person, okay? And when now I finished and I went now to, when I left there and we got involved in kids education in Kenya, and then I was at the forefront of building a school and building things. I think that's what has been a more exciting part of my life and what I still want to do. So many times I think we have gotten trapped in looking at the narrow sense of education in the traditional sense, where we only see success in terms of maybe what you can call the traditional career paths. But we are in a world today where there are careers that were never thought about. Even now, there are careers that are emerging that even people still are wondering, what? Right now, we have something that is taking the world by storm called AI. And AI is such an exciting but also threatening thing. But with it is creating a new spectrum, a new different dimension of even how career paths are going to be defined going forward. And there are jobs that are going to die and there are jobs that are going to come alive. And some of them may not be the traditional things we know, but they are children. This particular younger generation you're having, they are already being wired for that and they're going to start showing some of these things. And I think for me, that's why CBE is very important, because we are then able to see how the wiring of a child is connecting them with their destiny, which in turn is what God has determined for them. Because when you see the Bible, and it talks about Jeremiah and says that before I formed you, I knew you and I ordained you for something great. Every child, God has ordained them for something. There are people, and I was giving this example, I think somewhere else. There are people who have excelled in things that before if someone told you my interest is to be a joker. I want to joke, you know. I'm just thinking Margaret is my late mother. If that's what I told I want to do, I would have been caned very badly. I would have been caned. I mean, there would even have been no discussion about it. And you want to be a joker? That's what you want to do? What's wrong with you? But just think about people who have been able to go to very high places, all right? Here in America, there are people like Kimmel. I don't know that you guys follow them. There are people like Noah, who's a South African, but is here in America. They are millionaires. And they can get to White House just because they crack jokes. You know, people like Kansime, people like, they can go to the highest level to crack jokes even for the president. And I think we have seen that. Yet I imagining if I was a teacher teaching that child, I would have thought this child is playing around too much. They're not doing math, they're not doing their English assignment. Naningem Chapa as a teacher, basically the way we were trained as teachers then. So we need to shift. And that's what I'm saying, that when you look at this whole thing, we need to shift even in our mindset as parents to start seeing there is a way in which also this God involved in rescuing our children so they can be able to achieve what God has wired them for. And that for me is why I really think that we need to look at it differently.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohol. And now, Mary, to you, you can share with us.
Knowing your child's pathway is easy, especially if you're a parent who will follow on the directions that you are given. Of course, the CBC, we all parents must be helped to work together with the teachers because they are not understanding it firsthand as the teachers. But in a quick way, learn to establish what your child loves. That will give you direction towards what they can do best. Then you learn also to be keen on what they spend time on. There are things they can do and they forget about even food or even TV watching or other things, and they spend time on that. If you note that one, it will help you to know their pathway. Number 3 major thing is to watch how they solve problems and what problems they find easy to solve. Then you'll find that STEM learners will solve how problems. How is this thing working? And social science learners will want to engage people. They find it easy working as a group and engaging other people. They are people-oriented. The arts will be towards movement, beauty, and how they can make things to look nice. Creativity is too much. And one major thing, as Violet has mentioned, is that you don't decide this thing alone. As the traditional cooking stove, have the 3 of you on board, the child, the parent, and the teacher. One area that you should not follow is when you think that a child should maybe follow your dream. Maybe you wanted to be a doctor, and now you think you can afford to pay everything for your child to do that. Don't follow according to your dream. Don't choose according to marks. The marks are there, yes, but you find that as you follow the godly given abilities of this child, you might find that marks is not the direction that follows. 844 put upon us a lot of things to do with maths, and people ended up in medicine class when they could have made good creative people in other areas. Also, don't panic. Don't start establishing pathway early. they are exposed to projects and many things as early as grade 3, but that is not the time to choose the pathway. You will watch and walk with them through to grade 6. They'll also do their junior secondary, and they'll be guided. Like now, the ones who are in grade 10, there is a very vigorous uh, follow-up being done on them. Even them that went saying that they are of STEM, the teachers have been taken through training, and they are observing and working with them so that as they leave grade 10, they'll be in their right placement as they continue. So do not do it alone as a parent. Just let it be a corporate thing that is done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, we are almost opening up the Q&A. But before we do that, we just have one or two more questions. And this one is, how do we unlearn our own educational conditioning to accurately measure growth through qualitative competency curriculum metrics? Ideally, this is how do we wire ourselves from the traditional grading system and now start measuring our children's competency in terms of, like, just like Mr. Mohol said, if your child is not performing well, and also Mrs. Mohol, if maybe your child has a strength in reading, they might not be doing well in physics. So that doesn't mean your child is not capable, they are not good in school. So how do we uncondition ourselves? How do we what was the word? How do we uncolonize our mind? Yes. We can start with Mrs. Mohol. Yeah.
Wow, thank you, Anjiro. You actually used the right word, and colonize our mind. And as Kenyans, it's important for us to understand where our problem started. After independence, we then got into education that was introduced to us majorly because we were a British colony, and it is more exam-oriented, okay? And during the time of the introduction of education, the essence was to produce people that can work in factories or industries. And that is the education that was left to us. So what school was supposed to do was just to prepare children, put in them the skills that they, not really the skills, just get them to the place of where they can continue serving in factories, not necessarily to educate the child for their betterment. It was so that you can be able to serve another master. And that is what has happened with education. If you find how you and I were educated, I say you and I because competency-based education is an argument that has been in Kenya lately. But the way we were educated is that the teacher is the person that seemed to have everything that you needed to know. Then the teacher comes and tells you everything, writes the notes and expects you to know it, and then gives you an exam which you need to reproduce what they know. Now, what that does was that it dulled your mind from thinking. So anytime you're thinking of physics or anytime you're thinking of literature, you are remembering, what are the themes that the teacher said are in this book? Not, when I read this book, what can I draw from it myself? Now, we were already wired that way, and that to me is as a result of what we were. Now, strangely, while we remained there, the other parts of the world moved on. Their children think critically, you should do school here in the US. From when a child is young, they are taught independence, they are taught autonomy. They are taught to be able to engage with material and find how to solve a problem. They are not spoon-fed. The teacher, the learning is more child-centered than is teacher-led. And you find that they're more engaged in their learning, and that's how they want to train their children. So while we were back in Kenya or back in Africa, still producing people for exams, here they moved forward in the Western world. They moved forward and in other countries, the Asian world. So sometimes we look in awe at other people and what they're able to do. Asians, they are good at this. They can produce vehicles. they're just like us. It's just that the education system changed so that they were focused on what the child is able to do and what they can draw from that and make their nation to be that, or make their life to be that. And so that brings me to what we are asking right now. We need as parents to, and this is something that probably as a teacher I saw, as I continue to interact with so many kids and I saw them break down, or I saw them, feel like failures simply because they didn't get the A like the other child, or they couldn't make what they thought. For instance, although I wanted to be a teacher, in my school, they thought I should have been a lawyer. So my teachers were very disappointed when I didn't choose law. I insist, I was very persistent. I insist, during our time, you'd pick what you want to be. And so I want to teach, and I want to teach languages. And they couldn't take it. And so sometimes that is the mind that we carry as parents. The mind that there is a way in which my child should learn, and that is what makes them a success. Now, we will need to have a shift and now trust that things have changed. Even for you, when you look at how your children are reasoning right now, it's not the same way you did. Just because knowledge has increased, you are not the only one informing your child on how life is. They can see it when they go out there. They can read, they can hear. And so things have just changed on how children interact. And so should our mind when we come to how they need to train them and who they need to be. So when I think of what we need to unlearn, we just need to appreciate the fact that and trust the process. I know CBE was introduced. The thing that makes it difficult for us as Kenyan parents sometimes to receive good things is that politics gets into it. But if we could just remove the politics out of it and stay on the research part of it, we have such a wonderful curriculum. And I wish the parents could drive it so that now we remove the politics from it. If we did drive it, you can imagine what benefits it's going to give our children. And so unlearn the things that you knew before. How we learned before only made us so dependent. Let me give an example. Right now, if we ask you to quickly type in the chat, what happens? The first question you ask yourself is, oh, will I say the wrong thing? Should I really type? You don't have the confidence naturally to do it, because we have not been taught to be so independent to be able to get to a place where I can say what I think and not fear what others will say about what I think. You see, because we assume that people should only be saying correct things. So unlearning those kind of things will help us so that we can place our children actually at a level where they can also be the ones that produce cars. I was listening the other day, I was reading something on one of the politicians talking about Kenya becoming a manufacturing country. That is only going to be possible when our children are able to be innovative or creative, or can think that actually we can make a car, not as something that is, no, but as something that is the norm. We can build a car, So maybe unlearning just those bottlenecks of how we were wired before, how we were trained before to be dependent on the teacher, to now know that, by the way, our children can have the ability to actually think. And so let's give them room to be able to engage in learning so that they can be able to use their thinking skills and be innovative enough to even say what they're thinking, to say what they're doing, to engage in the things that will develop them to be who they need to be. Yeah, so maybe that's partly what I would say.
Thank you so much, Violet. Mr. Mohol, and then we can have Mary.
I think for me, I would want to just encourage, particularly the younger parents that are in the forum now. You are living in very exciting times. The generation of the children that you're bringing up will not allow you to sleep. I don't know if that's caring, but that for me is exciting. They'll not allow you to sleep. They'll test you, they'll question you, but at the end of it, they're a very exciting lot. We have a young child here whom we have adopted as our granddaughter. She just turned 3. And she has such an independent mind. You know, there are things if she has decided she's doing them, she'll just tell you, even though you are an adult and you're much older than her, no, I'm doing it this way. Now, I think the traditional way we were brought up is that, wow, this child is being very notorious, it's being very rude, it's being, but yet, if you really understand the environment this child is being brought up in, you'll then be able to understand this child is being encouraged to think freely, to express themselves. It does not mean they're disrespectful. It does not mean that they don't submit, but just understanding how they are thinking like that helps you to then now, what is the right word? Go into your own toolbox and ask, there are things that happened, and maybe let me just stretch it a little bit. There are things your parents did with you as a child that you have sworn and you have agreed, no, I'll not do this with my child. I'm not sure I'm speaking to somebody or I'm just speaking to myself. But there are things that our parents did with us. And I'm saying, I would never do that with my child. I like giving this example. There was one time when my mom had gone to the market and she had aired maize on the mat. We were just in the village, so we used to have the maize in the mat. And I was a little boy, I was probably about 11 or that age, or 12. And it's coming to rain. My mom has not come back. And I'm thinking, I need to get this maize removed. And I used to watch how she do it. She'd bring the maize at the center of the jambi, fold it, and then put the basket, whatever it is that you're going to, at the end of the jambi, and then now lift this thing up so that it gets into that basket that it was supposed to be carried in. So I was trying to do that. And in the process, as a little boy, that thing overwhelmed me, and you can imagine what happened to the maize. Now, my dad came and saw the mess. What did he do? Oh, didn't he take a cane? What the entire chapad, brethren and friends? That has never remained in me. And yet you can see I was trying to do something to my ability in a good way. And those are some examples, and you may have your own things that you have done to you as your parent, and you say, I'll never do this with my child. That is a process of unlearning we are talking about. As you raise up your children, just for me, I would want to encourage us, let us trust God, who has privileged us to be parents, that he can continue to equip us and even help us. I think a training Violet has done for a number of years called Be the Trainer of Your Child, which is not the subject of this discussion, but it's a wonderful tool that she has developed. How do we train our children as God is helping us, which is a continuous process? That's the unlearning that we need to be able to do, because you've never parented before. So parenting is not where you go to college and get a degree in parenting and now come and start parenting. Parenting is an on-the-job thing, you're doing it. And even what you parented with your first child is not the same way you parent your second child or third, because they are all very unique and different. The willingness to be able to say we are not also perfect and to trust God to help us is what's going to be really key in how we are going to raise our children for the glory of God as God is helping us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muhol. Mary, maybe you can say something as we wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you said, that we need to unlearn ranking. That is will really help us. I love it when the grades came out for the grade 9 results early this year and late last year. And it turned out that the grade A that used to be celebrated was no longer having the same value. Instead, grade E, which was looked down upon, became what was being celebrated. So we should understand that CBC is a very godly tool that helps us to develop what the Lord put in the child. And when we go back to ranking, we'll be like taking the new wine to put in the old wine skin, Matthew 9:17. We must know that ranking kills talent, and ranking creates fear, Ranking is what led to fake results and cheating, a lot of cheating in exam. So we should never want to go back to that bondage, because we are being taken to a level where we are going with what God gave them. And they can have combined with learned of a case of somebody is an engineer and at the same time is a jokes comedian and is earning from both fields. So the best way to unlearn ranking is appreciate effort. Any effort that the child is making, but there is in a process to perfect what he's trying to do. Appreciate it. Then inquire from the child what they have learned. Even if they are in a topic that you may seem to understand, let the child tell you what they have learned. So you will going to guide them from the knowledge, from what they know. Then as soon as you have established your child talent, work towards protecting it. Work towards protecting it. We encourage them and work with the teacher. Then, yeah, at that stage, you must know that you are a partner to the teacher. And like in the previous time, when the teacher was out at the age to produce for you results, this time round, we are working with the teacher to help this child to be a better person. Then never, never see your child as a failure, no matter what. Even when we are doing the projects, they are of different quality at the end of the day, but each of them has a chance at their level. Because a child may not be able to make something in the project, but may excel in the sports. So never see your child as a failure. Seek to know what God has put in them. So we must unlearn ranking to succeed in what God is giving us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. I know time is not on our side, but we have been able to cover the questions. And thank you so much to our panelists. We're just going to take a few minutes before we now go into the questions to the audience. Just take a moment to type in the chat, or we can even have somebody open their mic and say something. So we just want to communicate and interact here. Look at your child. What is one highly specific activity they performed purely out of curiosity this week without being prompted? We mentioned about our children being interested in drawing, in art, in music. But what is one thing that you noticed? You know, your child was moving towards, was it cars? Are they really interested in the World Cup that is happening? Did they come and tell you they want you to buy them something new so that they can do something? Did they ask you to buy them a book on philosophy, or did they ask you for a coloring book? Maybe you can just type in the chat, but we can also have someone open the mic and share with us. Feel free to unmute and tell us what is just one thing you have noticed in your child this week. Anyone from the audience, feel free to turn on your mic and tell us. Or you can type in the chat. And also, you don't have to turn on your video. You can just unmute and share. Do we have anybody? We can have one person actually share.
Okay. Can I share Wanjiru?
Thank you, Liz.
My name is Liz Watatua. And okay, my kids are actually both young adults who have gone through ACE and IGCSE. But I've worked with Mr. and Mrs. Mohol for a very long time, having been in ACE and IGCSE. And so when I saw the first IG and ACE forum, and then I saw this one, I was like, I just have to listen in because there's people of such excellence. And so I knew whatever is being done at Oaks Excellence Academy is really amazing. And having worked in a school where It's IG, AC, and CBC, all these many years, like 18 years. I knew this was a good thing. So I really had to come in, and I'm learning a lot. And this will go a long way, even in educating the parents who are actually in CBE. So I'll not say anything that my child has done this week, but really, I mean, it's just amazing what they've done with AC, with IG, and now them doing CBE. I mean, there were very many questions about CBE even when I was working up to December last year. But just knowing Mr. and Mrs. Muhol and what they've been able to do in the past, I really believe that this is a good thing. I've actually learned a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wanjiru.
Thank you for giving Mr. and Mrs. Mohol their flowers. We really appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. Someone else actually can share and even remember to tell us about what your child has done this week. Maybe one more person. Going once, going twice. Going thrice, sold to nobody in particular, but thank you so much, Liz, for sharing. I know time is not on our side, but like as Mrs. Mohol has said, there's that hesitancy to say, oh, to turn on your mic or type. You're like, oh, will I say something wrong? I know we were conditioned not to really be outspoken, but please feel free next time, even as we do this webinar, just shoot your hand up and speak. Like this is really, really such a free space for you. Yeah. And now we are going actually into the opportunity where you can ask your questions, and feel free to turn on your mic and ask a question. If you are comfortable, you can open your video or you can type in the chat. So do we have anyone who has a burning question? Unataka kuuliza hii swali? And our panelists are here. We have really had quite a great session. So this is the time, if you feel like something you wanted to know about or you were curious about has not been addressed, please feel free to ask. Na hapa msinyamaze, amwezi sema hamna swali. Tafadhali. For the love of God and for the love of our children, let's ask those questions. Anyone can ask a question, please.
Hi there, Wanjiru.
Hi, Christine.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a bit late to the meeting, sorry. So I may have missed this when it might have been asked, but I wanted to just start from the basics. Like there's something that parents who opted for ACE, including the lady that has just spoken, they found that was not in the mainstream curriculum. Then it was 844. So there's something that ACE was probably trying to curing that parents thought that it might be a good option. So my question was, and that's what I asked the person who sent me this invite, because Ox has been offering ACE and then GCSE and something called the one that is blended mild. Is it that now CBC has cured whatever it is that 844 was lacking, so that now it is a valid option that is being talked about in this forum? Because yes, just because we may not know so much. I'm a new parent, my daughter is only 4, but what is triggering this conversation? What has changed? Thank you.
Okay, I can see Mrs. Mohol is really aligning with your question. I'll give it to you, Mrs. Mohol, to answer.
Yeah, first, thank you. Thank you, Liz and Christine, for Liz for just those flowers. Thank you. For indeed, we have worked with you and known you for many years, and thank you. It's good to always have you here. And for Christine, for asking the question. When Liz spoke about the work we have done, I wrote it down to want to explain why we are talking about CBE, because lots of parents that have known us previously know that we have worked with the Accelerated Christian Education Program and that we still use it as a program in our school. And so I think maybe to make it foundational for us, having worked with a foreign curriculum for a long time, we call ACE a foreign curriculum because it is American oriented. What the founders of ACE did was that they took the American system of education and added values and Christian faith into it so that they could produce a curriculum that can be used by students, which was a good thing. And as we continue to work with the program and everything, and God growing us, that's why we are talking about change. God, you need to learn to expand as a person so that you embrace what you need to continue being as a person so that you don't get stuck. And so as we continued interacting a lot with education, even as Enoch and I, and reading and researching, we realized that even with just using one program, SEE, we are going back to conditioning children that this is the only way to learn. And yet that is not what our hearts were. We just wanted children to learn, but include values and the faith in their education. We didn't want, again, to make children feel that you must use a program called SEE for you to excel. So that's how come we liberated ourselves from thinking only about curriculum and programs and helping parents to see, focus more on what your children are learning. Focus more on what do I really want for my child, and then help them that way. So that's why you find that we also have different pathways so that we are not limiting you on what your choices are. However, as we have continued to research and move forward as a people or as Christians, we also realized, we have so much value. We raised our children through the SE program. I did homeschooling with them using the SE program. We were founders. But I realized that I had created Americans in Kenya. And yet I really don't think that was supposed to have been the objective. In as much as they became Christians, they knew more about America than they did about Kenya. In fact, none of our children spoke Swahili. And if you asked me, I thought it wasn't necessary because their communication language was English. And that's where I felt, that's why I love what Wanjiro said, the colonized mind, where you think English is the best thing that my child should ever have, and therefore they should speak it and know it even better than mother tongue or Swahili. And so we punish them for speaking mother tongue or Swahili, but we would want them to know English. And so as I continued to live on, another thing that I learned, and this I started reading after one of my professors who taught me linguistics at Nairobi, University of Nairobi. I started moving towards helping Kenyan children do mother tongue learning from class 1 to 3. And I thought, I respect this man. Why is he moving children to, doing things in this way? This is such an archaic way of thinking. Why would he be doing it? But because I respected him as a professor, I respected him as a person who can't just pick anything, I chose to research and find out, he's now late. What is Okoth Okombo thinking about when he's starting to help the government introduce mother tongue in the teaching of children at a younger age? And he being a linguistics and English person, I thought he should have been, encouraging English instruction. So that kind of research is what opened my mind even further to realize, when a child learns things in their context, they learn it better because it is something they can see. Learning was supposed to be experiential, where I can look at the tree outside here and I can see the leaves. Those are leaves, those are roots, I should learn from what I can see. I should learn from the experiences of my culture. I should know people eat bananas or what, because let me give examples of some of the things that happened to us. Because I was using an American system, and some of the things that were being introduced for me to use, even as for my experiments, were totally foreign. I didn't know them. You should know. One of the times they wanted me to use a construction paper, and I thought, what is a construction paper? And because this is a Christian curriculum, I'm just being vulnerable here. I decided, maybe let me go to Keswick and let's see what construction paper is. Oh, foolish me. Construction paper was just simply Manila paper. But when you've been wired to always consume things, you look at them the way they are, and you never think of any other way of looking at them other than what you have been told. And so that is what flexed us to think, we have been contributors in education, but we are narrowing parents' minds to think that what they are having in their own country is something that is not good. How many Kenyan children will learn or will know things? Then, of course, SE is not. You have to pay for it. You have to pay for it, and yet our heart as educators and as ministers was we want to reach every Kenyan children. So we don't want them to find that, oh, there is this good thing, but we can't even access it. So what did we do? We chose no. let's stop aping. Let's stop. We don't have to keep looking for things from outside to look like they're the best for us to do. So that's how come we started now using the normal CBC program, and we came up with the Miles program. That's what Christine is alluding to. So the Miles program is simply, we took the normal curriculum design and just integrated Christian values into it, and then broke down the things that the children needed to use to include inquiry-based teaching, which we are talking about today, and experiential learning, so that the children can have an experience as they learn. So that's what we have done with the Miles program. So we simply use the Kenyan curriculum design, and then we innovated, we modified so that it's able to include what we were looking for. We just wanted our children to remain Christians and to teach them Christian values. That's all. So it's not to say one program is better than the other or to do what, but I really don't want us to demean what we have. Competency-based education, yeah, like you say, if you look at the jargon, in fact, when you read about it, you realize, oh, but this is what we were doing in SME. That's what will come to your mind. But remember, SE is also very, you sit in your office, it's not activity oriented. You work it's more independent, individual work based. But curriculum based does use different approaches. Yes, you become an independent learner, but you engage in different activities. You do projects, you can do the play-based learning, you can do different kinds of activities that you can include in the learning, and just in the way of helping to know who your child really is. So even as we encourage or as we use maybe SE or IG or CBE, it is just for the interest of parents and where they are. We never like that parents or students don't get what they want. But for us, we are Kenyan, and we want to encourage Kenyan parents that you actually have a very good thing. It's actually very, very, very good. And we need to move it forward. We need to use it because it's a very precious tool that we have ignored and that we have gotten into the politics of it. I hope, yeah, I needed to give that foundation so that, because I don't want us to get stuck in curriculum. I want us to see curriculum as a tool. Like Mr. Mohol keeps explaining, a tool is you can use a slasher or a mowing machine, a mower, or you can use a panga to cut grass. The issue is, how do you want to cut your grass? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mohol. So I can see we have actually questions in the chat, and one is from Minnie Wanjiko. She is asking, how do I do CBE with a child on the spectrum? Which activities, considering the short attention span? Maybe Mr. Mohol or Mary can answer this.
I was wondering what Minnie means by spectrum. I mean, I looked at that question and I needed maybe more clarity so that you can be able to address.
It's maybe a child who has autism. Yeah, that's what being on the spectrum is.
So Violet, maybe you can help with that briefly. Yeah.
Let me begin with Mary. Let me hear what they're doing in the school first, and then I can add.
Fine.
Mary, we can't hear you.
Actually, the CBC caters for children with learning differences. Actually, CBC pathway, or not a pathway, there are two. There is stage-based and age-based syllabus. Now we call them curriculum design. There is a one for age-based, that is a child who will go according, who has a normal growth system, both intellectually and chronologically. And there is the stage-based, which is a child who has a different learning style. So every child is accommodated. There will be a curriculum for that child according to their need. And learning is learner-centered at the pace of the learner. So there is a curriculum for all the special need learners.
Thank you so much, Mary. Okay, we can do the other question. I can see we have many questions. How do I homeschool using...
Let me add something there. I think for many, when we're talking about special education, I think that's another whole wide area that we may not be able to cover fully here. But there is no child that cannot benefit from CBE. That is the first thing that I can just reassure you. Then also, when we are now talking about different children and their, what you can call leanings in terms of learning styles, I know we use the word of special education so much, and sometimes it scares people. There are strategies that have been developed that can reach any child. If you're talking about a child with a short attention span, it is not the end of the story. There are a lot of strategies that are existing. All we need to be able to do is now we can engage further, and we can probably help you, point you to some of the resources that would be useful for you, that can help you with that situation. When I talk about activities, they are there. There are children who will be motivated, or what you can call, they'll be, I think the word is, the kind of things that intrigue them. You'll be able to know. Sometimes it's color, sometimes it is sound, sometimes. So we just need to be able to then take that pie out, that, like a slice of a pie out, and now delve into it. And we can do that. It may not be possible to do that exactly, but I just want to reassure you that there are a number of activities, there are a number of strategies, there are a number of tools that are available that we can be able to share with you and help you, so that you can be able to see then how can that child be helped. But I don't know if the child is in a school situation, that also is different, or you're talking about this in a homeschool situation, that will also be very different. Because in a school, then the school should be able to do that. And I pray and hope that the school, if your child is in a school, that they are capable, because there's one thing about being able and another thing of whether they're actually doing it. Yeah, but maybe you can, I think I'll just want to say here, Wanjiru, that I'm going to post here an email address, so that some of these questions, if we can't exhaustively discuss them today, we can still continue to engage with the people, and they can send us an information on inquiry to this email that I'm just posting now. So they can just put it down, and then we can continue to engage. And then from there, maybe you'll share with us your email address. We can continue to also see, maybe it will inform the future webinars that we'll do in some of the specific areas that people have need for. But you can carry on the other question, so that we redeem time.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, but maybe just before we go on, Mr. Mahal, so that we just surface. I think I like how Mary has said. Actually, the way the curriculum design is written, it is written to be able to accommodate both children who are just without any learner needs or difficulties, and children with learner. So that one is already put in the curriculum design. So if they are in a school, then that should be able to suffice. But I want to use our own example at Oaks Excellence Academy. We have had children that we have received, and that you need then to modify the curriculum. So what we have done is that, or what we have worked with our teachers is, you then know how inclined is this child, what are their strengths. So you use their strengths to be able to teach them. And so you engage in the activities that they are strong in to still communicate. You can still teach one in many ways, but it's also dependent on the child and in their abilities and who they are. So that's also possible. You can modify a curriculum, or you can check on an outline, modify it to be best suited to how your child also learns, or if they're having a learning difficulty, you modify it to the level of their understanding, and they should be able to work it out. I just wanted to add that and say it doesn't have to be expensive. It is something that is doable, as long as you know what should my child cover, and then help them. And it can't be general, because as you say, on the spectrum, people have different abilities also on the spectrum. So this one may be inclined in things that they can touch. This one may be inclined in things they can see. And a different one may just be somebody who can absorb but can't say. So I think it's also condition to the individual child. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Moho. I think time is actually not on our side, and we have a couple of more questions on the chat. I don't think we'll be able to cover them because of time. We had said 7 to 8:30. We don't want to abuse that because we want you guys to come to the call next time. But what you can do is we'll collect these questions and we'll share with you on email, and we'll make sure that we are able to actually answer each and every one of you based on the question you have asked. So we can go to the next part, which is really as we wrap up, and really just a call to action for the parents. And it's just, what is one high impact daily action a parent can take this week to support their child's learning journey without doing the work for them? And I think this is really just an advice that the panelists can give the parents as a takeaway from this session today. So we can give each of you 1 minute to just give them one thing, 1 minute only, so that we are aware of time. So we can start with Mary. Just one impact or action you can recommend to the parents to do to support their children. 1 minute.
To help your child most, kindly listen to them, explain to you what they learned, so that you work with them from what they have understood.
Thank you. Mr. Mohol?
Please, parents, take time to read. I know this is a tough order for Kenya, not for us, but just take time to read. Go on the internet, use Zoom, use whatever. There's a lot of information there, that because information is power. When you are informed, you'll be able to be much better in terms of even dealing with fears, dealing with concerns and worries. So just create some time to just, get to know what is happening in education platform or environment.
Thank you. Mrs. Mohol?
I wanted to say, trust your child, that they have ability in them already, and then trust the process of them being able to release that information from within them. And you'll be amazed at what your child can do, even at their level, wherever they are. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So we are going to, we have had our panelists and we are just hearing about Oaks Excellence Academy. What is Oaks Excellence Academy? I think I can give our experts, Mr. and Mrs. Mohol, to just tell us about Oaks Excellence Academy, because maybe some of the parents or some people on the audience are hearing it for the first time. So I'll give Mrs. Mohol 1 minute and also Mr. Mohol 1 minute to tell us about Oaks Academy. We can start with Mr. Mohol or Mrs. Mohol. Any. Mike ni yenu.
Okay, let me go. I think, thank you again, Wanjiru, and thank you everyone for the attending. Let me just again emphasize, if you need to answer your question satisfactorily, please use the email we have provided to engage with us. Would love to continue the discussion so that you are satisfied. Now, Oaks Academy is a Christian school. We are situated next to Two Rivers Mall off the Northern Bypass. To access us, you have to access from the Northern Bypass, not from Limuru Road. It's easier. Just if you're coming from Kiambu Road, just after the entrance to Two Rivers Mall, there's a total petrol station on your left. There is Mamlaka, Hill Chapel on your right. So just at that place, there is an entrance and our sign is there, and you'll find us. It's in a very serene, quiet, lovely environment. Now, and this is a trend now you probably see, and at least what referred to it earlier. Many schools now are offering what we call multi-streams. And the idea is schools have realized that they don't want to be defined by one curriculum, because that is a fallacy. If you talk about one curriculum, it's like saying only one curriculum can solve all your problems, which is not true. Curriculums are tools, and you should be able to have several tools to use, because every need you'll meet will be very different. So at Oaks Academy, we approach education focusing on the child. And then now, on the other hand, we can have access to the tools, and now we can determine which tool will work best for the child in consultation with the parent. So you should be able to come to Oaks, and we should be able to offer you what will meet your child's need so that they're able to excel and achieve their purpose. Our key clarion call in Oaks is training for transformation and equipping for life, because education has to be much more than just getting the grade and getting the certificate. Yeah, for us, we believe in Oaks Academy is a journey. When we start with your child, say at preschool, we want to walk that journey. When they finish high school, we want to be part of that journey. When they go to university, and we have been involved in this, we have been able to facilitate a lot of our students to access higher education in many parts of the world, even and also locally. So we have that experience. We have children in Australia. We have students who have gone to Russia. We have children who have gone to, Thailand and those Eastern. We have people who have come to America and have gone to Europe. So we have that experience. We'll be able to work with you, but also locally in terms of colleges and also universities, because we believe to be an international college preparatory institution. And more importantly for us is the culture. At Oaks Academy, we are a family. We work together with you as parents to create this family where we can look at the gift God has given us in that child and just be so privileged to see that child grow and develop. I was telling another parent, I think was talking about, do you know how exciting it is to watch the 5-year-old become a teenager and their voice is breaking? Do you know that exciting journey to just remember, just the other day was a small boy or a small girl in preschool. Now they are this lovely young girl with confidence and they can express themselves. And then what a privilege for us to even go on with that journey. In January this year, I was privileged to be in a wedding for a girl that we started when she was 4 years. And now we are attending her wedding. She has done her master's and she's getting married. You would have seen me dance. You'd think I was crazy, but I was dancing. I mean, I rarely dance, but I was dancing that day with a lot of joy. That is what this is all about, friends. So Oaks Academy is your partner in the journey of education for your child. Feel free to call us. We offer the IG, we offer the ACE, we offer the CBE, but all those curriculums I'm mentioning, we enthuse them with the Christian values and Christian ethos and character development, because that is now our main focus. That in all these things, we cannot take God out of education, then we have chaos. We have a telephone number there you can call, and we also have an email address, admissions at oaksacademy.co.ke, if you want to be able to get more information about how you can enroll your child. The admission is going on right now for September intake. So please, first come, first serve. If you wait, the chance may not be there for you in September. But thank you so much. I hope that really gives you an overview of what Oaks is all about.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Mohol. I think what we can do is I noticed we didn't put the email, but I can see we have the website link shared in the chat, even the QR code. You can just take your phone and scan. So yeah, feel free to copy the the website link, take the phone number. Really feel free to reach out. Yeah, I'm not sure, Mrs. Mohol, do you have anything to add, or Mr. Mohol has covered?
No, he has covered everything. And I just want to thank all the parents and all the teachers that have attended this and everyone who has come. It's been a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So this has really been such a great session here today. We just want to hear your feedback about this webinar. We could just be here na akita tumeongea tu stories za japa. So this is your time to tell us, has this session been very helpful to you? What would you like us to share with you next time? Really, we are not here to talk to ourselves. We really want to solve the problems and answer the questions that you parents have. You have a child, you're concerned about 1, 2, 3, maybe just give us your feedback, scan the QR code, just take your phone. But we also have the link being shared in the chat of giving us your feedback. We have, I can see Nancy Wambura has shared the link for the Google Forms where you can give us your feedback. And also we have a YouTube channel. The link is also in the chat where you can go and just see more about Oaks Academy and really just share with other people. But of importance now, I'm just going to give you like 2 minutes, scan the QR code or copy the link from the chat and really just give us feedback. Feel free to share everything. What part of the session really was insightful for you? What would you like to see? Hata hizo maswali uko nazo zenye hatujajibu, put them there so that we can be able to know the next session. Maybe the next one we can do is about careers only for your kids. You know, what activities are they doing? If your child is interested in comedy, how does that look like 10 years from now, 5 years from now? You know, how can you nurture that? How can you as a parent educate yourself more? Hizi topics zitakuja kutoka kwenu. Si. We want you to be very involved, to be very engaged. Again, remember, we are building the future of our next leaders, which is our children. So I hope everyone has been able to take this to give us feedback. If you haven't, we'll still send you the link via email. But really, thank you so much for joining us here today. We are sorry we have been a little bit over time, but I think that's being a Kenyan timer, I think Apple Watch tu ni excuse. I'm a Kenyan, a proud one. So yeah, but I feel like we all get late somehow. But I really hope this session has really been amazing. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to Mr. Mohol. Thank you to Mrs. Mohol. Thank you to Mary for being on the call. And thank you really so much for the audience. We know that you could have been doing something else this evening. You have had a long day, but you chose to really join this session and be here with us. So thank you so much. That's it from me, unless our panelists want to say something. Mrs. Mohol, do you have anything to say? Or we can wrap there.
I think we can wrap there. I had mentioned that I really want to appreciate everyone who has come, and just to challenge educators that are here and parents that are here. May we desire the best for our children, and we have a channel through which we can use, which is not expensive, and that is the CBE. So whichever choices you make, just know that Kenya also has a way out for us as parents or as teachers. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, now I feel like Mr. Mahol should also say something to just thank the audience, and then we close.
Thank you, Ajiru, and all the other team, the technical team that has supported us, Nancy, and really we appreciate. For the parents and the people who joined the seminar, I hope this is not the last time you are going to engage with us. We look forward to having more meaningful conversations with you in the area that I think matters most to our heart, and that is our children. So we want to be part of that conversation with you, to support you where we can, and just trust God that God has given us his word. I want to end by quoting a scripture, Isaiah 54, verse 13. The Bible says that all your children will be taught by me, says the Lord, and great will be their peace. So let's just rest knowing that God has a good plan for our children. They are going to have education that is going to bless them. Their future is safe with the Lord. No matter what the circumstances may look at now, their future is safe with the Lord. Amen.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that brings us to the end of our session today. You can hang around and just listen to some music to really just calm yourself down as you digest what you have shared. But otherwise, have a very good night. Buenos noches and sleep well. See you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. I see you've enjoyed the song. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, and thank you.